On Kochie's Business Builders, how to keep good staff, the secret ingredients to employee retention. Meet the mum who's passionate about the environment and kids' toys. And one of Australia's most successful grain farmers shares his top tips for business success. Hello and welcome to Kochie's Business Builders. Are you finding it hard to find quality staff and keep them? Employee turnover is becoming one of business's most pressing problems. So today we're finding out how to retain staff with a simple strategy. Let's go and meet the owner of a bar in Sydney who's willing to give just about anything a try. Grant Collins is most comfortable shaking, rattling and rolling behind the bar. This skilled mixologist is the owner of Gin Lane, a new small bar in Sydney. But he wants his employees to have just as much passion as he does. Staff retention expert Andrea Culligan has come along to try Grant's creations and also offer some advice.
I've been told that you give a great, amazing experience around your cocktail making.
We try.
Would you mind making me two of your favourite drinks?
Cool. Well, I think to start off with, we'll go for a classic martini.
Why did you decide a gin bar when, considering gin now, you know, the last couple of years is really this booming trend? Could you see that? Was that a forecast that you had in mind, or did you just always have a personal passion around
Yeah,
gin?
well, I suppose as a consultant, you do your research, and it's all about what the market is looking for, and also this area as well. Being English, I've got a soft spot for gin, I must admit. A bit of mother's ruin. But the first time I actually walked into this venue, I just thought of the Gin Palace.
Now, the experience I received from you is fantastic, but do you think that that experience is consistent in your venue?
We actually have a secret shopper program, so we get people to come in pretty well every 2 weeks. They come in undercover and don't announce themselves, and they just indulge themselves in the experience. We get reports and we share them into the training. It's really, really important. So when we're doing training with our staff, we've got real feedback from real guests.
How do you ensure that your staff are keeping that experience consistent every, Monday through Sunday?
Sure. So really, with the new staff, we put them through quite an intensive training. So before they can work a shift on their own, they get something called Gin School. So they learn 5 classics, 5 signatures and 5 gins. They spend a bit of time at the bar, they do shadow training on the floor. We use our secret shopper program sort of feedback as well. It's all about sort of ongoing consistency.
So you've talked to me about your passion for the industry, your passion for the trade. You've started to really focus on training and development. You've got this amazing experience. You've told me you've got customers rolling out the door on a Saturday night. What are the challenges that you're facing and how can I help?
The hospitality industry in Australia, it's completely unique. I mean, it's very different to the UK. It took me a lot of time to get used to working in the Australian sort of hospitality culture, coming from the UK. In London, there was career bartenders who just wanted to be a bartender. Maybe after being a bartender for 10 years, they wanted to go on and be a consultant or build a business, but they wanted to be in hospitality. I worked with some amazing waiters in London as well, French, Italians, English as well, who were career waiters. Okay, they wanted to be a waiter. And then maybe, when they got to a certain age, they wanted to be a general manager or they wanted to own a restaurant. They were career hospitality people. That was really hard to find when I came to Australia.
First and foremost, you are in a really high turnover environment. These industries, call centers, front of house, hospitality, retail, they're very high turnover environments. However, if we look at the bar scene, as you've already alluded to, it is changing, it is shifting. So it is so important. And the primary reason is if we see the most successful venues in Australia, which you will know intimately by name, and I won't talk to them now, but they all have a consistent experience. Every venue you go into, if they own 10, 1, 30, around the world, locally, whatever it might be, even if the food is different, the experience is different, the atmosphere is different, the experience is the same. And that customer centricity is directly aligned to employee engagement. We can all, and I'm sure you know of numerous venues where you've walked into and the experience as a customer is so bad. And it's not due to the produce, it's not due to the venue, it's due to the fact that the staff just don't want to be there. They cannot stand their job, and actually they probably love what they do, but they don't feel a sense of connection to the place that they work. A lot of people think, oh, if I treat my employees well, then they'll just be happy. But actually, it's so much greater than that. If we look at high levels of employee engagement, it almost always refers to a 22% increase in productivity. Now, if we have more productive staff, then we have a much greater customer experience. The other thing is, if we have a highly engaged team, the stats show us that on average, you'll receive a 3% increase in profit the subsequent year. That doesn't mean cost cutting or, chopping out headcount. That is purely related to profit in the business. And the reason that is that you've got customers that believe in the value. So if you raise prices a little bit or if you charge a little bit more, it doesn't really matter because the quality of actual client that you want to come into your venue is focused on the experience that they're getting, which is what you're trying to do.
Some interesting advice there. Your company culture is a real and tangible thing, and it's not just staff who notice, customers do too. Coming up, find out what else Grant can do to retain staff in a notoriously choppy industry. Do you work within the finance or accounting sector? A new report has identified a number of challenges and opportunities over the coming year. Experts warn there could be an increase in cyber attacks, with threats becoming more challenging, extensive and dangerous. A shake-up of the superannuation industry could also bring about significant change for underperforming funds. There are opportunities on the horizon, though, for SMEs in particular. Many are expected to look to their accountants to help take their business into the digital age. This will likely lead to the extension of a single-touch payroll system. We're also expected to see e-invoicing standards implemented across Australia and New Zealand. The government is also expected to announce more initiatives to encourage all SMEs to be digitally connected.
Hi, I'm Ankur Segal. I'm the co-founder of Peanut Street Noodles, and I love small business.
You're watching Kochie's Business Builders. Today we're talking staff retention. The hospitality industry is notorious for having high employee turnover rates. So the owner of a bar in Sydney is trying to find new ways to look after his staff to keep them engaged and happy.
So what do you see as some of those challenges that you have around keeping those team members then?
There's so many bars in Sydney now. So, hospitality mentality sometimes is the grass is always green on the other side. But obviously I've got experience working around the world and around Australia in other bars. And we really try and look after our staff here. We do a lot of social activities, but we also try and make it pretty clear that, we do have the best training here. If you were to leave to go to another bar, necessarily you're not going to get the training, and it works. We have a lot of working holiday visas who go off travelling Australia and then they come back to us again. So we must be doing something right there.
They're literally called boomerangs. So people, they go and come back.
We've got a few boomerangs, but yeah, it's quite a different mentality here with the Australian sort of hospitality scene. There's not so many career bartenders, waiters or managers at all.
You've talked to me a lot about customer experience and how important it is to you. If you have that consistency and your employees are happy and they love working here and they stay here, then that customer retention, that customer experience will only increase. And not only that, Grant, it'll start to take the pressure off of you because right now you're leading the charge, as we all do in small businesses. You're the one that's bringing the energy and getting excited and sharing the vision about this venue and about this business and why this is so important to you. And as you walked around, you shared with me the stories of the posters you have on the wall and the different things and the glasses that you have in all the cabinets and why they're so integral to this venue. It would be amazing to hear that same conversation from your employees and have them share that with their customers.
So is there any tips on any of the ways I can sort of help engage my staff to share my vision?
Yeah, look, first of all, have some clear values or behaviors that you have that are clear about how you operate in this organization. And sometimes behaviors are easier to talk to than values in a bar situation. There might be some, cynicism around values, but behaviors actually are a very understood trait. So having that consistency almost gives you the performance indicator to talk to outside of product knowledge. Now, you've talked to me a lot about how you incentivize your team around product knowledge, and that's fantastic, right? Because this is a gin bar. You want people to know about gin. But at the same time, the biggest importance that you've shared with me is actually experience. So incentivizing them, or what I like to call actually is recognizing them on behaviors, is going to be the most successful component. So if we look at the 4 key things around retention, the first one is recognition. It's the biggest piece of the puzzle. So how am I recognizing my team? Or if you want to look at it another way, how am I inspiring my team to really live the behaviors that I want for a consistent customer experience? The second one is learning and development. So you got the gin school pretty dialed in, so you're kind of ticking the box there. But again, how are you going to train on customer experience? And do the role plays, have people walk in the door. What does that look like? What does that feel like? And then relay that back through your secret shopper. By the way, if you ever have an opening for the secret shopper, let me know. The third one is quality, which again, you've got dialed in. So quality of brand is so important to this particular environment and this particular industry. How do we make sure that it is, a quality experience every time we walk through? But the fourth one is the really most important one around being a human, which is just respect and ensuring that there's an equal and dual respect for us as humans. And, people don't buy from anything other than people. We all buy from humans. And the more human the experience, the more approachable the experience, the more easy the experience can be for the customer and for the employee, then the greater the success you'll have for both customer retention as well as employee retention.
Some really great advice there from Andrea. The key to retaining staff: recognition, learning development, quality, and respect. Time now for Pillars of Success, helping you build solid foundations for your small business. This week, we're focusing on sustainability.
This week's Pillar of Success is about sustainability. But before getting into the details, let's briefly talk about what it is and why it matters to all businesses, big and small. Let me start off by asking you one very simple question. When was the last time you used a rotary phone or listened to a cassette player? These are relics from the past that have been replaced with technologies that are far better, smarter, and more user-friendly. Manufacturers of these products that didn't evolve are no longer in business. Unfortunately, today, many business practices are very much like this. They follow ideas and processes that were developed from an entirely different era. Like the technologies, they are outdated and not well placed to respond to the challenges or the expectations of today, let alone those of the future. And at its essence, this is what sustainability is about. It's about reinventing yourself and your business. It's about being forward-thinking and evolving and meeting the needs and the expectations of today and anticipating those of tomorrow. All companies, regardless of their size, that implement sustainability measures today will develop competencies that their closest rivals will be hard-pressed to match tomorrow. Sustainability these days is not a nice to have, it's an effective business strategy and one that can help you develop a competitive advantage.
Still to come, meet the mum with a passion for kids' toys and the environment. We think it's time to shine a light on the businesses making an impact, locally, nationally and globally. Together with our friends at Google, we're putting together Kochie's Business Builders Power List. To check out more and keep up to date, head to our website.
Hi, I'm Ross Larson from Mara Global Foods, and these are my 3 top tips for business success. My first tip would be know your numbers. Understand your profit and loss, understand your balance sheet, understand your cash flow statement. You cannot run a successful business out of a bank account. My second tip would be continue to educate yourself. I recently completed the Australia Owner Manager program, and from that I was surrounded with peers and mentors, which made me rethink where I was at in my business and where my business was at also. My third tip is target waste. Remember, waste is anything that your customer won't pay for. Continue to look within your business for things that you can improve. There's as much money to be made there as anywhere else in your business cycle. So they're my 3 top tips for business success. I wish you all the best with your journey.
A few decades ago, it seemed the world's resources were infinite. But now we know that's not true. Businesses, more than ever, are finding sustainable ways to grow. A mum from Geelong has always lived under the sustainability ethos. Pippa Buxton is the founder of Little Earth Nest, an eco-friendly one-stop shop for families.
I'm Pippa Buxton and I own Little Earth Nest, which is an eco-store for families that I have been growing since 2006. We have a thriving online store, as well as our flagship store here in East Geelong, and an outlet out of our warehouse. We aim to cater for any Australian, but specifically for eco-minded Australian families, from mums and dads to babies and children. We have quite a comprehensive range, as you can see. There's a wide range of stock, and it ranges from the stainless steel water bottles and reusable products such as for food storage, through to quality wooden toys, eco-friendly toys for babies that have all met security and safety checks and things like that. There will be 2 major challenges that I'd say across the around 12 years that I've been growing the business. And the first actually is what I would say is overcoming the roadblocks and mindset of self-limiting beliefs that a lot of women in business have. So I feel like that's a key challenge that I have had, and I still work on that every day. It's only really a generation back to my mother where people were being fired on their wedding day. It's not something that we talk about really enough. Certainly there's been a lot of people that felt like what I was doing would be impossible. You know, I've raised my 3 children at the same time as growing to a business where we're looking at 7 figures. I think that is something quite unique, and I feel really lucky, grateful for the opportunity to be a female voice, to say, women can do this, I've done this, and anybody can do this. So certainly overcoming those self-limiting beliefs is a challenge that I've faced. For us as an independently owned business, limitations on capital investment have been the major reason that our growth has been slow. So I've had to work very long hours. You can't get around that there's been a lot of hard work invested into what we're doing. But because the business is so passion-driven, we've got the incentives to keep going with it, you know, both for our family, for my pride of growing what we have turned Little Earth Nest into today, and also for the sustainable ethos, and so that we can continue giving and contributing to the community in that way. I think the success of our business is a great show point to show that there is definitely still interest in conventional toys, in quality wooden toys. Children themselves are actually driven to the sort of product that we offer, and when they're stripped back or removed away from the devices, you actually get to see their imagination shine and show that it's inherent within them to create imaginary worlds. And that's some of the best elements of what I do, is seeing children enjoy the toys. So we don't have difficulty selling what we sell, and children definitely really enjoy it. I think probably a lot more sometimes than their parents expected.
I love Pippa's enthusiasm and passion for what she does. It's worth bottling. Coming up, word on the street, we ask small business owners what they really think. It's time for Word on the Street, helping to answer some of your biggest questions. This week we asked, what's one thing you do differently?
I suppose the one thing I'd do differently would be to employ other people sooner.
The one thing I would do differently is teach myself not to stew on the things that have gone wrong. It uses up so much energy and mental space, and it's something that I'm still working on today.
One thing that I'd do differently looking back is definitely implement better processes, and processes that would foresee the growth.
I see everything that hasn't worked so far as an opportunity to learn, as we can never grow without there being problems.
You've got to look at what you're doing all the time and not be afraid to say, just stop it, don't do it anymore, move on to other things.
I'll definitely try to attach myself to a great mentor.
I would probably go out and hire people earlier than I did. I didn't hire someone in my business really for the first kind of year.
One thing I'd do differently is I'd
make sure I gave myself a bit more time to do things outside of work that I loved. What do you reckon?
Yeah, like surf.
Surfing.
Coming up this week on Ask Kochie.
Hey Kochie, this is Sarah Hamilton. I'm from Bella Box Australia. We are Australia's #1 beauty box, and recently we were working with our employees about how we could reward them, how we can push them to have more work-life balance and have more wellness in the workplace. So out of that, we created a new subscription box called Welcome to Wellness, and it's a way that employers can reward employees and make sure that, again, they take that time out and they look after themselves. So since you're the guru, my question for you is, how does small business keep on top of workplace wellness? So what are the innovative ways that a small business can incorporate workplace wellness into their everyday? Thanks.
Don't miss that Facebook Live discussion on Tuesday from 12:30 Eastern. And of course, feel free to throw me any live questions you might have as well. Coming up next week, looking ahead to the future, how to put a transition plan in place. And don't forget, you can catch up on this episode and plenty more at koshiesbusinessbuilders.com.au. See you next week for more Kochie's Business Builders.